sure.
Thanks.
Okay, we're live now. So now we'll start admitting people in. And guys, Rebecca, Anne, and Kushman, could you please see if they all keep their videos off? Thank you. Okay, so I think the co-host can handle people letting in. So without wasting any more time, we'll begin. So hey guys, this is Malika Gupta, your host for today, and I'm the Secretary of Marketing and Sponsorship for AMSA India. I think you know me very well by now. And sadly, this is the last keynote for AMSACON 2020. But the best news and the good news is this keynote is study strategically and prepare for USMLE with Lecturio. And we are honored to have Katlin Hiller, who is the Student Relation Manager of Lecturio, and we also have Satya Noor, who is a colleague of Katlin also from Lecturio. So hello, Katlin, and hello, Satya. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to help us guide about our part to Lecturio, because I see many people who are joining right now very keen about USMLE. They're very keen to know how to prepare for USMLE. A lot of us are actually in a peril, how to study strategically, which book to refer, and what are the best resources for that. And we have Team Lecturio with us, who will guide us in this path to our path to USMLE, and we are very glad. And without wasting any more time, first of all, guys, you know the drill, but we'll still ask you to listen to me as we tell you the general pointers before starting. So before we start, the general pointers are: please always keep yourself muted during the meeting so that you don't disturb us, don't disturb the speakers as they speak and they present. Please keep your videos off the entire time, as this event is going live and you will be visible on the YouTube as well. So please keep your videos off, please keep your mics mute, please don't interrupt by sharing your screen, as only the speakers are allowed to share the screen. Also, if you have any doubts anytime in the meeting, if you have any questions to the speaker, please put them in the chat box. All of us, the co-hosts, will direct them to the speakers. Katlin and Satya will definitely answer your questions. People on YouTube can also put their questions in the live chat box, and we'll definitely direct you the answers. So now, without wasting any more time, I'll give over the mic and I'll hand over the stage to Team Lecturio. Katlin, Satya, the stage is all yours.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. I hope you can hear me okay. I apologize in advance. I have a little bit of a cold, so I might have to pause every, hopefully not too often, but I might have to pause a couple times and sneeze. But luckily in, this time of everyone working from home, we can all still, be together here in this digital space. So just really quick to kind of get to know some of you, could you post in the chat where you're from? I know we probably have people from all sorts of different places.
Guys, we are all Indians, we know that, but she wants to know which part of India are you from?
We're in India. Yes, thank you. Sorry, should have been more specific.
So I'll type awesome. I'm from Punjab, and Ludhiana to be specific.
Oh, going so fast.
So Katlin, a heads up, AMSA India is present all throughout the India, and you'll get all parts of Indian cities over here. So
I'm seeing that. This is fantastic. I'm really glad, we're able to reach such a wide audience. Of course, we know this being partners with AMSA India. And I'd like to say thank you so much for having us here today. It's fantastic that we're able to take part in this conference and, end things up as the last keynote. All right. So yeah, looks like we're from everywhere. So like I said, my name is Kate. I'm with Lecturio. I'm going to share my screen right now. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so let's get started. You're able to leave questions in the chat. I'll leave some space at the end to try to answer some questions. But just if anything comes up, let us know, and I'll do my best to answer everything. So today we're talking about studying strategically and preparing for the USMLE. So as has been said, I'm Katlin. I'm a student relations manager at Lecturio, and my colleague Lecturio is also here to help me with some behind the scenes. And then he is also a current medical student if there are any med specific questions, as I am not a medical student. All right, so before we start, today I'm going to be talking about some study techniques, how some of this is already built into the Lecturio platform. Of course, we're coming from, a specific angle, but how you can utilize some of these, tips and tricks and science-based study techniques to really study better, especially from home right now, as we're all in this crazy pandemic situation. And then, of course, we'll talk a little bit about the USMLE, some of the changes that are coming up with the USMLE, and then kind of wrap it up with how you can combine all of this together, and then we have a little treat for you at the end. So let's get started. So first of all, what is Lecturio? Some of you may have already heard of Lecturio, some maybe not. But just in 3 points, Lecturio is a new mindset. There are many other companies out there that are there for exam prep. And while, they can definitely have useful resources, we are about more than just preparing for the exam. We're about preparing you to be excellent medical professionals in whichever area you decide to go into. And so we are here to help you truly master the medical concepts you need to know, and connect the dots from the beginning. So with that being said, it's all in one from day one. So the way Lecturio works is we have everything you need for both medical school and USMLE preparation. So of course, for your regular classes, maybe you'll need to spend more time reviewing video lectures, or taking recall quizzes to make sure you understood everything. But as you start shifting towards USMLE or other big exam preparation, you might need to spend more time focusing on clinical cases. We also have some great schedules and guides to help you prepare for both subject exams, for USMLE, for whatever exam you might have. And we're also affordable. So of course, this can kind of depend. Our idea of affordability and your idea of affordability could be different. However, we have found that many other companies, some of our competitors, of course, are charging so much, and it's just for exam prep. And so we really try our best to keep our prices as low as possible, because what we want to do is make sure that high quality medical education is more accessible for all medical students around the world. Okay, so I mentioned we have videos, right? But who does the videos? We have award-winning educators from around the world. So these educators, they're not just good at what they do, but they're also good at teaching. And that's very important to us, because you can be good at doing something, but translating that and teaching other people doesn't always go quite the same as maybe how you're doing it yourself. All of our educators are teaching award winners, so they're very good at teaching in addition to their, knowing their actual topics. They come from some of the world's best universities. These are just some of our educators here on the slide, but we have, many others. And combined, they have more than 200 years of teaching experience. Now, obviously, that sounds a little crazy, but if you add everyone up, it's a lot of time, and clearly they're very good at what they do. So they come from universities from around the world, but just to name 3, it's Harvard, Johns Hopkins, and University College London are just 3 of the many schools we work with. And then 24/7 availability. Now, while you might not be able to directly chat with these professors 24/7, because they do also have to sleep sometimes as well, all of our content is on demand. So you can learn at your own pace, at your own time, anywhere, and we even have offline capabilities. So let's get into the more interesting study strategy part. So becoming a better medical student. So all of you as medical students, you've gone through school, you're in med school, whether you're at the beginning of med school, the end of med school, or somewhere else in between or after. You've probably experienced learning in a classroom. So here on the left, we see our old learning style. Someone's, teachers in a classroom telling you what to do, telling you what to learn. And maybe it's making sense, maybe it's not, or maybe it makes sense in the class and you get home and you say, wait a second, what? I know I've had this experience before, as have many, many other people. So part of where we come from and what Lecturio aims to do is to bring some of these evidence-based learning strategies into our products so that you can learn even before you get to class. And so in some circles, this is called a flipped classroom approach, but it's also different techniques that you can use within or in addition to or besides flipped classroom. So you're learning some information before class so that when you go to class, you're actually able to apply the information. You're actually able to speak with professors and learn better, and they can further explain and go even a little bit deeper. So of course, right now in online learning, everything's kind of online, but this will also help you prepare so you can make the most of what is already kind of a tricky situation. Okay, so there are 4 main evidence-based learning strategies that I want to kind of touch base on here today. So the first is called interleaving. So this is basically just learning by alternating the materials that you use to study. So for example, if you are, watching a video and then taking notes on the side, or watching a video and using the 3D anatomy model on the side to, kind of see exactly where and what you're learning about, that's one way to do some interleaving. Linking abstract concepts to concrete examples. So of course, this works with a 3D model thing as well. But, bringing, of course, you can learn the theory to a lot of different medical topics, and you will, and it's very important. But being able to link it to, kind of real world examples and also to an image can also help you remember the concept. So similarly, we go into problem-based learning. And so this is specifically when you're starting with a clinical case question and you're learning how to answer it. And in the process, you're learning, some of the medical, medical topics. So maybe you go into a clinical case question and you have a little bit of background, but you don't really know enough to actually answer it yet. Well, you can start with a case question and then kind of frame your studies based on what you need to know for this. And then, of course, assessing your progress to boost retention, and then using spaced learning. So basically, this is taking a look at some of your own performance data, whether it's on Lecturio or, checking out, your previous exam scores and seeing what information you need to review so that you can really, get that to be encoded in your brain. So spaced learning kind of goes into that with the encoding part, because using spaced learning, and we have a specific thing which I'll show you in a minute, using spaced learning, basically you're bringing back information that you've learned or reviewed, and you're bringing it back at differently spaced intervals. So of course, maybe you might remember it 1 day later, but will you remember it 3 days later? You just, you get to take, using spaced learning, you'll kind of bring that back and reintroduce it so that over time, it is something that you can recall easier than if you learn it once, learn it for a test, and then don't use it until all of a sudden, you're in your internship and say, wait a second, I should have known this. There you go. So, yeah, so kind of bringing these directly into Lecturio to kind of explain how this could work with Lecturio or another platform, but obviously I'm talking about Lecturio here. So using your interleaving and linking of concepts to create examples. So within the Lecturio platform, which I'll give you a quick demo of in just a minute, we have various illustrations. So as you can see, these are both on the slides, which you can download from every video, and they're in our articles and concept cards. We have our 3D models that you can use, and these are really cool. You can click around, you can hide things, you can bring things back. It's very, very cool. I'll show you. Our videos, of course, you're able to watch them. We have transcripts you can read. We have subtitles, all sorts of information. Text, so, this is, some people learn best by reading rather than straight up just with videos. So we also have articles and concept cards to go with most topics. And then quizzes, because, you know, while you're reading something, maybe you think you already know it, but do you know that you know it? So quizzes help kind of test that and make sure that you're also understanding what you're learning as you go. So the next part is about applying these medical concepts. So this is that problem-based learning that I talked about with the case question. So you're applying this knowledge by solving your clinical case questions. And so you can do that in the QBank, which I'll show you in a second. And then you're kind of using reverse learning, which is another way to say this, to review explanations, watch related videos, and then of course here we have first aid references. So this is one of the most popular reference books for the USMLE Step 1. And so this, you know, going through questions and then learning why your answer was correct and why your answer was incorrect will also help you to further understand the information, because it's not just about, you know, rote memorization. It's all about understanding what you're learning so that you can then utilize it in other contexts. And then finally, we have, of course, retaining the medical concepts, because you can learn it, you can, you know, practice it for an exam or for USMLE, but if you really want to retain it, you have to bring it into your mind at regular intervals. So at the end of all of our videos, a quiz pops up to check your understanding, first of all, but then also it tests if your confidence in your answer. And if you get it right and you're very confident, then it'll bring that quiz question back to you, you know, maybe a week later. But if you're very confident and you get it wrong, it'll bring it back to you much faster. So maybe 1 day or 2 days. And so this helps you to, you know, continually review this information. And the confidence level is important because you don't necessarily have to review every single thing every single day. That would also just take way too long. And so in doing it this way, you're able to then, you're able to then, you know, increase your knowledge over time. So that's with the retrieval. All right, so here we've got a quick demo. So I just talked about these things, and here you're seeing screenshots from our product, but let me just show you what it actually looks like from in here. So as you saw, we have this learn, apply, retain mantra, so to speak. And that you also find mirrored directly here in the Lecturio platform. So let's just start with the video library. So this is where you're learning. Maybe you don't know all the information yet, or maybe you're just reviewing after you had your class or in advance of a class to be prepared. So you can go into your video library. We have a list of different libraries you can choose from. Usually St. George's won't be there. That's something we're testing. But here we've got preclinical, we've got clinical, we have, you know, you can just see all sorts of different ones. I'm just going to stick with USMLE Step 1. Here you're also able to filter by subject, organ system, top USMLE diseases, and then we've got a whole section on study schedules and guides. I'm going to keep it with subjects for now. And let's just pop into anatomy. So as you can see, there are a lot of different videos, but here, what I am pulling up is just kind of a sample so you can see everything that's going on. So pardon my internet, it's a little bit slow. So we have this video, I have it muted right now, and I have it in double time. So something important to note, obviously you have to learn a lot of content during medical school, and it takes a while to watch all these videos. And so something that's helpful here is you can put it in half time. For example, if you know the language is hard to understand, or you need to spend a little more time with it, you can put it in regular time, or you can put it in double speed and a few other speeds between. So we have our videos here. You can see there are closed captions. You're able to turn those off, or you can translate them into any of these auto-translated languages. So I'll just leave it in English right now. And then, yeah, so here are your videos. You're going through all of these slides that you're going to see in the background. You can download them by clicking here and then just click to download. Here we have the 3D anatomy model, which I mentioned just couple minutes ago. So obviously you can switch to any angle you'd like to see the model from. You're able to also use it in full screen, but because my internet's a little bit slow, I'm not going to load it right now. But you can also, take your different tools and let's say, okay, we want to hide a few things so we can see what's behind. And you're able, each individual tooth, you can go like that. You can also fade so that you see, okay, that's still here. It might be a little hard to see on your screen, but so it's still here, but now you can see behind it as if it's see-through. Yeah, so there, that's a little easier to see for you. And there are some other tools and descriptions. And so here you can read some descriptions that go with the model. So here you also see for this particular video, there are 5 different models and you can click, zoom in, zoom out. And you see obviously certain parts are highlighted that are important for you to know. And they're labeled too. So that's the cool thing with 3D anatomy. And then going with our closed captions here, you can also search the transcript. So for example, say, okay, you know what? I really just need to look for the subclavian vein. Let's take a look. And I just searched it and I said, okay, there's the first reference. Here's another reference and another reference and even more. So let's say this is what we're looking for. If you click here in the transcript, it'll bring you right over here into the video so you can see. And as you can see here, we've got this video has been updated. We do regularly update our content to make sure it is, the most current medicine for you. So you can play and keep going. So obviously I have this muted, but yeah. So something you can also do with this shows completed here because I've watched this video before, but I can also, usually it'll say add to planner. So you can add this to your own study planner. You can set a due date if you'd like, but you don't have to. I just won't. And so then, well, I've watched the video before, so it does say completed again, but you can also set due dates for videos you haven't seen yet. Then you can add and it'll remind you via email. You can also take notes on videos. So as you can see, I've taken a few notes over here. And something, you can also do is say, oh, you know what, I want to go back to where I wanted to reference this. Just click on position and it'll take you to that part of the video. So it's very convenient. So this is kind of the basis of our learn section. We have articles that go with this. So let's see if this will open in the other tab. So illustrated articles with a lot of information if you prefer reading or if you need some more information here. And then the last part here, I'm just going to run out the clock on this video, is the quiz. So this is where we're getting to our retention part. So skipping ahead just slightly, but just so you know, a quiz will come up after every video, and this helps you test test your knowledge and make sure you understood what just happened in the video. So got that one wrong, so I'll have to retake it at some point. Let's just go here. Also got it wrong, so I'll have to retake. I'm not actually looking at this, so okay, here we go. I got this one right, and so now I have it memorized for 4 days. So that helps you there. All right, let's pop back to the home. So this is our learn section. This is kind of the basic learn part. Now apply, this is the second pillar. This is within our question bank. And so there are, I guess, I would say kind of 2 parts to the question bank. So of course you have, your tests, but then you also have your performance data. And so I'm going to show you how you can use some of this problem-based learning and some of the other study techniques that I just mentioned with the QBank. So I'm going to make a custom test right now. And so we have tutor mode and timer mode. So timer mode You should turn this on if you want to really simulate an exam and say, okay, I have 90 seconds to answer each question. Let's go, go, go. I'm going to keep that off for right now, and I will turn tutor mode on because you can actually use the QBank not just to prepare for exams in terms of testing yourself, but you can use it actually as a study tool. So this goes with this problem-based learning. So we are in question mode. We want all of our questions, any subject, any system, and I'm just going to say 3 questions because we only really need to look at 3 today. So the QBank creates my test. So these are patient-centered vignettes, so clinical cases. This is very similar to what you'll see on the USMLE. And also this layout, this design is very, very similar to what you'll see on the USMLE. So we have designed this way so that you're, aware of, you're already getting used to, as you're studying, you're getting used to this format. And so you won't ever have to, you won't be surprised when you get to the USMLE and say, oh, I don't know what to do. Everything's right here. Now, of course, they don't have tutor mode on the USMLE because it's a test, but it's the same basic idea. So here we can go ahead and select an answer. Say, let's submit and show the explanation. Well, unfortunately, I got this wrong, probably because I didn't read the question, but yeah, so this is wrong. And here I can say, okay, this was incorrect, but now this explains here why. So this is the correct answer. This is why it's correct. And then we say, okay, but I picked B. Why is this wrong? So this will explain it to you. So on the USMLE, the questions are, multiple choice, single best answer. So while multiple answers could technically be correct, only one of them is the most correct, and that is your correct answer for the exam. Over here, you can see we have book references. So these are, again, for this first aid for the USMLE Step 1. This is a really great reference book that I've never known of anyone who doesn't use it. But this is, this is a reference book. And so on page 684 of the 2020 edition, you can see the information you'd need to review to answer this question right. All right, so let's go to the next question. So here we have our second question, looks very similar. For example, if we do need something like lab values, we also have these over here on the right. You can take notes, and these are private notes. So again, same with the video, same with here. These are private notes, and so anything you type here and save, say test, this will be here, but it's only here on your account. So it's not anywhere else. And then we have a calculator, of course, because you might need a calculator. So, all right, for this one, let's just click here. So instead, so in tutor mode, we have submit answer and show explanation. So we can do that. And I got that one right. Here you can also see on most of the QBank questions, of course, the first one didn't have it, but on most of them, we also have related videos. So if you do need to review this concept right away, you can review it. You can review it right here. And our first aid references again. But yeah, and then we'll go to the last question. Don't think it's that, don't think it's that, don't think it's that. Let's go with E. So instead, when you're in tutor mode, you can still use this like a test and say, instead of submit answer and show explanation, you can just go to next. That was the last question. So we'll say, yes, we're ready to end our test. Excuse me, sorry. Ooh. So then we come here to this test results screen. So this is, going along with using your performance data and reviewing the content that you're not getting right. And, to focus on this, and this can kind of tailor where you can use this information to then tailor what you need to learn. So here we go. Obviously I got the one question correct, that's excellent, but unfortunately 2 questions wrong. If I'd like to, I can go back in and review the questions. And so I can say, oh, okay, here's the wrong answer, here's the right answer. I can look at my explanations. If there's a reference, I can look at that. And that has all this information here. So even if you don't use tutor mode while you're actually doing the QBank, you can utilize it later. All right, so let's close this. So that was our second pillar, that was apply. One other thing actually within the QBank, we have this new section called exam preparation. And this is specifically for the USMLE, although it works. And now we have subject exam prep as well. We have a 40-day USMLE schedule. We also have a 99-day that is going to be coming into this exam prep area, I think by the end of the month. It's a work in progress. And we have practice exams for step 1, a step 1 self-assessment, and a step 2 CK self-assessment, as well as these subject-specific prep bundles. So just so you're aware. That's kind of the other part of our QBank. All right, so here we go. We had our learn with the video library, apply with our question bank, and retain. So you've already briefly seen these spaced repetition questions. These are the recall quiz questions that come up at the end of all videos. Obviously, I have a bit of reviewing to do, and you can have it notify you via email when you need more than 10 due questions. It says they're due today. You don't actually have to do them every day, but this is just to show you, get your progress, and you want to get your circle green. You can reset the deck if you'd like. This just kind of clears it. So then once you start watching videos again, the questions come back. And the questions that are here are only the questions that you have previously answered from the videos you've previously watched. So you can always go here and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to answer a couple questions, do some review. You can also do this on your phone with the mobile app. And it's kind of a nice thing to do on a commute as well. Because it's a nice, easy way to just build some retention into your daily schedule. So here, obviously I got this question wrong. And when you're in the spaced repetition section, you can actually watch the related video if you'd like to then further review the content. If you say, okay, I really thought it was this answer, but it's this one, and you can watch it again and hopefully you'll get it the next time. And you can just keep going on this until, all right, I'm doing really bad, but that's okay. I'll keep going on this until I need to, or until I get them all right for the day. So, all right. So here we go. This is our learn, apply, retain. As I've shown, this gives you all of this information. Is how we designed it is based on these learning techniques. So you can use your interleaving here. You can use, your problem-based learning. You can use your reverse studying. Everything is already built in. Obviously, though, I just showed you these 3 elements. So what is the rest of this? We have a study planner. This is when I told the video, said I wanted to put the video into my planner. That's our study planner. So you can see I have a few things that I need to work on, but a few things that are done. We have bookmarks, so you can kind of sort different videos into folders, and just when you're watching the videos or when you go to the videos, you can add them to your folders. I always make a folder called videos with notes, and so you can see which videos I've taken notes on, so I can go back and find them that way. And then performance. So this is your overall performance data. So again, using this data to then say, okay, this is the content I really need to work on. So let's looking at anatomy, head and neck anatomy, as that's the one I seem to watch the most. And you can see where I'm getting the highest percentage of these quiz questions wrong, and QBank questions. And so I say, okay, it looks like I really need to review my, introduction, especially triangles of the neck, because I'm getting 58% of these questions wrong. So there we go. Those are these other elements. And then we do have COVID resources, which I'm just going to open in another tab. And then just one last thing, if you go all the way down here, we have a section called study schedules and guides. And these are super, super helpful. This is the med school survival guide. This kind of walks you through kind of what you should expect going into preclinical years, into clinical years. It is designed based on the US medical system. So it'll say M1, M2, M3, M4, as it's usually a 4-year program in the US. But the information is, applicable across the board. We have our 40-day study schedule for the USMLE Step 1, and our 99-day study schedule for the USMLE Step 1. And so basically we've divided some content into some very intensive study time. This is usually, people use this for dedicated study as they're preparing. And this is a review of everything you would need to know. And then we also have our QBank walkthrough step 1 tutorials. We also have one for step 2 CK. And this basically walks you through how to answer a QBank question, how to approach a clinical case question. So if you haven't done it before, or if you need a review, we've got that right here. So this last thing, the COVID resources. Let me see if I can get to it. Oh, no, come back. The little thing at the top keeps popping down. There we go. All right. So these are our COVID resources. So we have a comprehensive overview. So this is our concept card. And this has all the information. So etiology, diagnostics, everything you would need to know. Let's pull that up. There we go. So etiology, transmission, epidemiology, lots and lots of information here. Oh, darn it. There we go. Okay. We have information about complications, which of course is also very important. We have video lectures related to overview and management. We have interactive case files, which are really cool. Our studying at home guide, which includes some of this information on these study techniques and information here. And we have strategies for self-directed learning. So some tips from some of our professors on how to best tackle their subjects from home. So all of these resources all the COVID resources are completely free. You don't even have to log in to use them. All right, so now that I have just shown you the product again, all right, so these, we just talked about this in the product. So let's talk a little bit about USMLE, because maybe that is why you came to the presentation, why you're excited about this. So USMLE is a licensing exam. It's actually a series of licensing examinations in the United States. And if you want to do a residency in the US, or if you want to be a doctor in the US, you need to take and pass all of these exams. So I'm going to focus today on step 1 and step 2 CK. But basically you start with step 1, you have step 2 CK, which is clinical knowledge, and step 2 CS, which is, oh my goodness, I'm forgetting what the S stands for at the moment. But it's, the exam itself is a clinical simulation. And then step 1 and step 2 CK are both multiple choice, like the case questions based. And then USMLE step 3 is a combination of all of them. So step 1, this focuses on your basic science knowledge for the most part. So this serves to assess that you have a basic knowledge of everything you need to start practicing medicine. So you're not able to practice medicine alone until you've passed all of these and are licensed. However, this is the first step. Using step 1, you will then use the score to get into residencies, and then step 2, I'll explain that in a second. So topics on step 1 are related to your foundational sciences, anatomy, biochem, pathology, communication skills, which is very important. Step 2 CK, however, similarly created exam, but it's used to actually apply some of this knowledge in more of, in, I guess, kind of a higher level. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. All right. So topics on step 2 CK are, getting into some of the even more complicated parts. So internal medicine, obstetrics and gynecology, pediatrics, surgery, that sort of thing. Like I mentioned at the beginning, there are some big changes coming up for USMLE, namely for USMLE step 1. So one of the first ones is reducing the number of attempts to take the exam from 6 to 4. So this means you only have 4 chances to take it. Now it's very, very expensive to take the USMLE. I mean, don't let that stop you or anything. There's a lot of different ways to find your own funding for that. But it's also, a goal should be to pass it on the first attempt. not only to save money, but also because now you only have a total of 4 attempts. And it's a big exam, so you want to do it right the first time. The step 1 score reporting is going to be changing from a numeric score to pass-fail. So that has some pretty big implications, which I'll talk about in a second. And then there will be some content changes, which will include increasing the number of items that assess topics such as communication skills, system-based practice, patient safety, legal and ethical issues, and professionalism. So of course, the medicine itself is very, very important to know. But a big part of being a medical professional is having good bedside manner, and knowing how to how to navigate through ethical and potential legal challenges as you're practicing. So pass-fail, what does this really mean for test takers? Residency programs that currently use your step 1 score will likely switch to using the step 2 clinical knowledge score. So step 2 CK. So this means you'll need to take step 1 and step 2. I believe you can currently still take them in any order, but most people do take step 1 and then step 2. But I do think that is changing at some point. But I am not exactly sure when. You can check the USMLE website. They definitely have it on there. So yes, it's very important because the score is changing. However, they're not changing to pass-fail until at least January 1st, 2022. So you still have time. And of course, USMLE will release a lot more information as that comes closer. So, okay, why take the USMLE? Obviously, we've talked about study techniques. We've talked about the USMLE. What is it? But why? Many of you, might want to practice medicine in your hometowns. You might want to practice medicine in another city, in your province, or somewhere else entirely in the world. But many people take the USMLE because it's what you need to actually practice medicine in the US. And the US actually really needs international medical graduates. So if you're going to med school outside of the US, that is, that is what you are. You'd be international medical graduates. IMGs make up about 25% of the workforce. 25%, that is a lot. In this year, almost 3,000 non-US IMGs matched with the specialty listed as their only choice. More than 4,000 matched into first-year positions. There are many, many different specialties you can choose, but some of the top choices for many IMGs include internal medicine, family medicine, pediatrics, neurology, pathology, and psychiatry. But you can, choose any specialty. So the match is basically, based on your scores and your applications, you get matched to a program, a residency program. And so in 2020, we have the number of people who are applying and the percent who are matched. As you can see here, non-US IMGs, so if you're a non-US citizen who studied medicine abroad, more non-US IMGs match just slightly more or about the same as US citizens who might have studied abroad. And so really you're right up in there. It's the perfect, it's the ideal situation. You can see here in this, it looks probably small on your screens, but the average annual physician compensation, of course it's expensive to take USMLE, but is it worth it? Depending on your specialty, you could be making quite a lot in the US. And these are just averages. So in some places it may be more, in some places it may be less. But yeah, so these are just some basic information for your match stats. The application process for USMLE as an IMG is a little bit different than that if you're studying in the US. You have to register with the ECFMG, so that's the Educational Commission for Foreign Medical Graduates. There you have to verify your medical degree. You're going to have to verify that you pass step 1, step 2 CK, and step 2 CS there before you can take step 3. And then you'll get a certificate from them as well. For residency, you'll have to apply for ERAS through ERAS. And so this is, a residency application with your USMLE scores, personal statement, your CV, any certifications, letters of recommendation, that sort of thing. And then finally, you can get matched through the National Resident Matching Program. So basically you select, you'll need your certificates and everything. You will have to use that, apply for your residency, and you select the programs that are your top choices, top to bottom. Okay, so just really quickly, back to Lecturio. As we've talked about, to prepare for all of this, to prepare to, find your pathway to medical residency in the US or elsewhere, you have to start from the beginning. You have to have a very strong foundation, and we help you build that specifically with our video lectures and our quiz questions. So that's spaced repetition. You have to come up with a strategy. Taking tests, especially something as big as USMLE or any of your licensing exams anywhere else, you have to have a strategy, a study strategy. You need to make sure you're prepared. You can take an assessment test. And then you have to keep practicing, because it's not just about knowing the basics and having a strategy. You have to kind of combine that into practice. And you can do that with our question bank, with our study schedules and our guides, which I showed you already. So again, just to find this guides, schedules, self-assessment, it's in the question bank. You click exam prep, and then you can pick, you've got your step 1 study schedule. These are topic specific. The USMLE step 1 self-assessment's a great place to start. And this is kind of the basics here. All right, and then I had mentioned this very briefly, and I see I have a bunch of questions coming in, so I'll take questions in just a second. We have a must read. We have an ebook, and it's also a course, and these are the walkthroughs of these clinical case questions. So for step 1, there are 30 different questions that you're walked through to say, okay, how can I best answer this? What are some of the best strategies for that? And so we've got an excellent doctor, Doc Osare, and I'm trying to think exactly where he is right now. I think he's at UCLA. He's doing a residency, and he, walks you through all of these, or he might even be done with his residency by now. I don't remember off the top of my head, but he did very well in the USMLE and worked with us to create these question walkthroughs. So we'll make sure to send out that link to everyone who's here today. Yeah, so again, it's all in one from day one. We've got your basic sciences covered. We have your clinical knowledge. We have a lot of video lectures, a lot of articles, many, many quiz questions, many clinical cases, and all of this content comes together with, the planners, the guides, the schedules, the self-assessments. We have mobile apps for both Android and iOS. We have the book matcher, which is a really cool thing you can use either with the mobile app or elsewhere. If you're reading a textbook, you can scan it and find related video lectures, that sort of thing. And so these are just the basic science and clinical topics. Let me answer some questions. Well, if you wanted to look at this, if you wanted to screenshot this, let me start with the questions. Or actually, you know what? All right, I'm going to stop the share for just a second so I can see the questions. All right, so question 1, is it possible to strengthen your first year basic later in your course? This person didn't focus on the basics in the first year and now and just studied to pass the exam, now wants to go back. Yes, absolutely. Going back and reviewing with these video lectures, I would recommend, maybe doing a self-assessment and seeing where you are and what areas you need to most improve upon, but then using some of these study techniques and some of the features like the videos, the spaced repetition quizzes are going to be super great for you, and that'll help you, build up your foundation again. All right. Question 2, please give us a clear explanation from application processes for step 1 to step 2 and electives and everything else. I don't have time to give you a full application overview. That would take a while, but I recommend going to the USMLE website. It's just usmle.org, and they have all the information you could want about applying. You can also look at the ECFMG website, which I believe is also just ecfmg.org. And they have all the application information, and you can read it through at your leisure. All right, question 3. Are Indians allowed to do their post-graduation in surgery in the US? Yes, anyone can do any topics they want. You just have to apply and be accepted. So yes. Not trying to pit you against your competitors, but in what ways are you guys better than your competitors? For example, Osmosis or Kaplan. That's a great question. Thank you for that one. Yeah, I would say the thing that we set ourselves apart with is that we're not just for your exam prep. I can say, Kaplan specifically, it's just, okay, in the months up to your USMLE, you might use it for a couple months and then you're done, and pay a lot of money to do so. But for example, for us, if you're part of Lecturio and you're using Lecturio, you use this from day one of medical school. And so not only are you kind of getting used to the style and the content, but you're able to build up all of this knowledge and utilize the same resource. And so you're not spending all this time trying to look for different resources and trying to figure out, different ways to take, you're not trying to figure out all these different ways to learn and different resources. You have everything all in one. So yeah, I mean, different platforms have different styles, and some people prefer one over the other, and that's totally fine. But for us, we are here from day one with the goal of making you a better physician in general, not just about acing exams, although of course we have all the resources there for that as well. But we want to make sure that from start to finish, you are being the best, medical professional you can. All right. So we have a couple questions on streaming and different devices. Yeah, so you're able to use Lecturio on different devices. So you can use your account on your phone. You can have our mobile app. You can use it on the mobile web. So just like on the whatever internet app is on your phone. You can use it on your computer. Yeah, all sorts of options. Yeah, so with your account, you're able to use it on your different devices, tablets included as well. Okay, does Lecturio provide guidebooks? So I did mention the question walkthroughs. If you go to your homepage on lecturio.com and you log into your Lecturio and scroll all the way down to the bottom there, we had our guides and schedules, and you can search that there. A couple of people want to know more information about USMLE. Let me pop a link in the chat here. We have what I call the USMLE world. Lecturio.com/USMLE. And we have all sorts of information about, the exam, a little bit about preparing for the exam, but also, more score information and stuff, so you can read that on your own there. Let's see, 40-day schedule the videos and tests. Yeah, so our 40-day schedule, it is planned in a way that takes you through your questions, and then you review that content. So you do a QBank block, and then you'll spend a couple hours reviewing the content with some videos and things like that. So it's kind of all in one, and it has it set for you every day for 40 days. Now that schedule's assuming that you do have dedicated time, so it's about 8 hours a day of that. However, you can break that up however you want to break it up. All right, I'm just gonna have to kind of pick and choose some of these questions here, because I think we only have a couple more minutes. Let's see. Can you take step 1 while you're in medical school? Yes, you can. I recommend taking it once you've finished your, your basic sciences. So in many cases, that's like after you finish preclinical, that's a good time to take USMLE. Most US med students take it after their second year of med school in a 4-year program, if that helps. Okay, that goes to the timeline. Oh gosh, we have a lot of great questions here. I'm so sorry I won't be able to answer all of them at the moment. But okay, can Lecturio QBank be purchased separately? So the way Lecturio works, I'm going to share my screen again, is that, so this is why, once again, students are very satisfied. The way Lecturio works is it's a subscription model. And so you can go with either a 3-month plan, so paying every 3 months, 12 months, 2 years, and 4 years. And so as you can see right here, I have an exclusive discount for you today for taking part in this presentation. So thank you very much for being here. And this brings the price down quite a bit for the 12-month plan. And so when you join Lecturio Premium, you have access to everything. So it's all the videos, all the references, all the answer explanations, all the QBank questions. Now, if for whatever reason it's not an option for you right now to purchase Lecturio Premium, you are able to answer all of our QBank questions currently for free, but you don't get all these extras like the explanations and that sort of thing. And so those are premium features. So hopefully that helps with that question. Yeah, so there are a few more questions here in the chat. And so thank you so much for asking them. For specific program information, a couple of people have asked specifically about surgery. You would have to look that information up depending on the program you'd like to attend, the specific residency, because I don't know every single residency program. So that would be something you need to research on your own. But yeah, so hopefully this has helped. We'll post the link to this to this deal in the chat. And if for whatever reason you're also not quite ready, because this is a flash sale, this is only for 24 hours at this price. But if you're not ready, we also have a link for you to try Lecturio for 2 weeks free. So it's lecturio.com/orgs/AMSA-India. And so we'll post that in the chat as well. Either myself or my colleague Lecturio will post that. And then if you have any other questions, you can reach out to us. You can reach me at students@lecturio.com. So I know I've kind of talked your ear off today. I've shared a lot of information, and hopefully this gives you a good overview, a good start. And yeah, thank you so much for taking part with us, and for being here and for being part of this conference. We'll post all the links in the chat in just a second. And of course, Malika and everyone will have these from AMSA India, and they can send them out to you as well. And yeah, so I really appreciate your time. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Katlin, for this wonderful keynote. Looking at the chats and looking at the amazing amount of questions we got, you solved them. Every bit of a question you solved, you gave answers for the questions. The participation, as I could see in the chat, was very nice this time. So thank you so much, Katlin, for taking time out of your busy schedule, for helping us clear all the doubts about how to use Lecturio as a platform, and also about USMLE. This was very helpful. Thank you so much. So as Katlin said, so first of all, I would like to thank Team Lecturio for being so generous and giving us this 24-hour discount coupon and the 2 weeks free trial. So guys, we are very lucky to be in this keynote right now. I think you all agree with me. So in case you have missed out on something, you can always reach out to us, the co-host or me. We can give you the links. And Lecturio Team Lecturio, that is Katlin and Satya, have also texted it in the chat box, so you can get the main link from the chat box. Thank you so much again. So guys, if you still have any more questions, this is the right time. Just ask any other question you have. If not, then we will end this keynote with the last attendance form, which I'll display on my screen. So any more question, guys? Okay, there is one. So if Katlin is willing to, can she take this question? So guys, no more questions now. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, so if we plan to buy a premium after trying for 2 weeks, yes, it is possible. The flash sale, however, is only for the next 24 hours for that great price. However, Malika also has a coupon code that'll get you 50% off. That is gonna still be valid. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. I know a couple more are still coming in. I'm so sorry we don't have any more time today,
Yes.
but thank you so much for.
So I think
patience.
that some questions can be solved if you like re-listen to this webinar keynote, which is there on YouTube. So as Katlin said, we have the link for the 50% off Lecturio as well. So you can reach out to us for that. We also texted, send the discount code and everything in all the, for all the AMSA members, please check your emails for that. We have emailed you the code. Please see them in your archive and like go back in, we sent it around August. So you have to check on that. But in case you still don't find, you can reach out to me directly. Thank you so much, Katlin. By the way, guys, a tip to avail the code for today and the 24 hours code which Katlin gave, you'll have to fill the form which I'm just about to display. So that is the catch over here. So Katlin, Satya, thank you so much for joining. Guys, right now I'm going to share my screen and you have to scan this code to fill the feedback form. Let Team Lecturio and us know if you enjoyed this webinar. So we really want your feedback. We want to hear from you. So please scan this code. And this code will lead you to the feedback form. And please fill the feedback form and let us know how you see. So after filling the feedback form, you can avail the 24 hours code and you're good to go. In case you have any doubts regarding if you're unable to fill the form or if there is some issue, then you can just contact the group moderators. So we'll keep this form open on the screen till 5:45. That is for a total of 15 minutes. It will be on the screen for 5:45. And after that, we will stop sharing, but the form will remain open for a total of 30 minutes. So at 6, we'll close this form. So you have ample amount of time. If you're still unable to fill it, please contact your group moderators.
All right, I will just say thank you once more, and we appreciate all of your feedback as well. But I unfortunately have to run to another call, but it was great to have you all here, and we'll see you all next time.
Thank you so much, Katlin. Thank you so much, Satya, for joining us today.
Yep, thank you.